from what it sounds like, and my own observation is that they're very sophisticated in targeting the kind of people that they're going to reach out to. They're very sophisticated into, using the messaging and using very deliberate wording across the cycle of a person's lifetime. And I think for somebody who may not be very business savvy or just a little bit savvy about what's going on in the world, they can really be vulnerable to that. So a question I have for you is how do you guys determine who you're going to target as a pastor or one of these churches?
The first thing I want to respond to your opinion, your observation about the sophistication of these mega churches, mega ministries, and it's very sophisticated. They're run like businesses. In many cases, they go through fulfillment centers, like we talked about, and the fulfillment center will will do. They'll use demographics, and so a certain demographic will get a certain letter, and another elderly demographic will get a totally different letter, designed to be personalized to uh, meet the wants and the specific proclivities of the people they're speaking to. And so, how we determine who we investigate can come from complaints that we receive. We don't get as many complaints as we used to, but people will contact us via email or telephone.
Are these parishioners?
Mhm. Parishioners, donors, uh, almost equal these days. We'll get parishioners of various churches around the country and donors of various televangelists around the country. And because if you're a donor, you're not really a member of their church, although they consider you a member of their church. So they call it, usually the term is partner. You're partnering with us. Well, no, you're not partnering with them. You're just giving them your money and letting them do exactly what they want to do with the money. And that's always misrepresented, in my opinion, almost always misrepresented to some degree. We're feeding hundreds of thousands of people. Are you really? We've rescued hundreds of thousands of slaves, like Rod Parsley says. Well, have you really rescued hundreds of thousands of slaves in Africa? I find that hard to believe. Uh, we're building water wells. Okay. You may be building a few water wells, but how many are you building, and how much of that money is actually going to your ministry? So that's one way that we figure out who we're going to investigate is through complaints, phone calls. Another method is just the smell test. If we come across somebody that's making prophecies that 2020 is going to be. We had so many prophecies at the beginning of the year. 2020 is going to be a great year, and then the coronavirus hits, and then and then people, 2020 coronavirus is going to be gone in a month. I praise God. Well, I'm sorry, it wasn't gone in a month, and so that makes us very curious about who the background of these people that are claiming to speak in God's name.
And when you are investigating these churches, based on what you refer to as the smell test or some complaints from some parishioners, is there any pushback from the church or the staff itself?
In the early 90s, we would receive death threats, but not so much after that. I will get a call every once in a while that from somebody that said you guys are the real sinners. You guys are the you're going to hell. But that doesn't happen very often anymore. It did happen, especially after we helped with a major expose on ABC or NBC. When we helped with expose Benny Hinn, we would get supporters of Benny Hinn that would call us and just deride us and say you guys shouldn't be exposing other people in the name of God. That's harmful to the cause of Christ. Well, no, it's not. You look at the early Christians, you look at the early church, the Apostle Paul and the other apostles, they called out heresy. They named names, people that were more interested in self-gain, more interested in earning, in getting money rather than in the cause of Christ. And so we're following a sort of a time-honored tradition. And what did Jesus do? I mean, he went into the temple and he turned over the money changers' tables and took out a whip and he drove them out of the temple. That's pretty serious. He actually drove the people that were making money off of the name of God. He drove them out of, he said, this is my Father's house. No, don't make it into a den of thieves. And it's time for us to drive out the den of thieves in this country.